break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling And I never been down with no OPP. I talk about selling our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling Ride him. My mother always say when you find a donkey, ride it. Come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what just bugged me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand, but I can fix this. I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling They're selling our country. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling I get everybody sells some every day. They're selling one island, they won't keep. What can be left for you and me? Is this the example? What's our kids to do? You want them have a sense of pride, or go selling too? Cause they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling They're selling our country, yes man. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling
Whoa, girls, we out doing
This is insanity. Jesus.
In addition to the loss of livable land, with nothing to absorb the incoming water, deforestation accelerates the growth of the lake.
If you have a forest, the water slowly seeps into the rocks or whatever trees, and eventually it ends up in the lowland areas, either in the springs or in the lake. But now what you're having is that the rain that's falling is going very fast and washing with it a lot of the topsoil, and that is causing that you lose forever the capability of having forests or crops. So you're actually compromising the future for this area.
It's a vicious cycle. As the lake grows, more and more people are driven into the charcoal industry, destroying one of the few remaining natural resources left and further degrading and devastating the region. It seemed that every time we got close, those making charcoal fled, fearing we were the police. After scouring the hills, we finally spotted some active ovens. The charcoal makers agreed to talk to us, only if we didn't use their names. Can you tell me why you started doing this?
A mí no me gusta violar las leyes porque yo trabajé en medio ambiente, yo era guardia, yo era militar, yo era guardia. No hay de qué vivir, no nos vamos a dejar morir. Si hay que cruzar esa loma a pie, a echar un día de trabajo por ahí, lo he hecho para darle, comprarle arroz a mis hijos, que sea arroz blanco, que coman. Que es duro tener sus hijos con hambre. Y ya no hay que contar. Ya en el monte no hay, mira cómo se ve el monte. No hay en el monte, ya no sé después que no encontremos algo.
People make charcoal to make a living, because for many, there's no other way. But it's a stopgap solution with a finite end. You only have to look next door to Haiti to see what happens when the trees run out.
For a long time, there's been the belief that the deforestation that you see in Haiti stops at the border. But if you actually visit now border areas in the Dominican Republic, you see the same land degradation moving to this side. We have protected areas that are not being enforced. We have a lot of documentation of charcoal making inside protected areas. It's just a matter of time before we turn into another Haiti if we don't change the course.
Haiti isn't just a picture of the Dominican Republic's potential ecological future. It's their biggest charcoal customer as well. Over 100 tons of charcoal is illegally sold to Haiti every week. We're on our way to the largest open market on the border. Anything that passes between the two countries, legal or otherwise, can be found here. So it's about 7:55 in the morning right now. At 8 o'clock, those gates open. Once these gates open, trade between the two countries begins. This is insanity. Jesus. So right now, all the people from Haiti have come over to get all the goods that they can't get on their side of the border, which is everything from mangoes, rice, to charcoal. It didn't take us long to locate the black market for charcoal. Carbon, yeah, good. Looks good. Yeah. Why is it So right by the edge of the water, hidden behind the trucks in the marketplace, you can see charcoal being smuggled, taken into boats, and brought into Haiti. The reason that Haitians are coming here to get charcoal is because they already cut down all the trees in their country. In Haiti, the lack of trees has led to massive erosion and poor soil, resulting in significant food insecurity. It is this shortage in food and other resources that drives Haitians across the border into the Dominican Republic. And even the marketplace is not safe, as the lakes in Haiti experience a similar increase in precipitation and growth. So right behind me is Lake Oswego. Lake Oswego used to only be in Haiti, but in the last 10 years, it's spilled over and taken over this entire area in the Dominican Republic. In about a year or two, it seems like this area will also be submerged in water, which will totally disrupt the trade in between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. The climate change is not just affecting the Dominican Republic, it's affecting Haiti, it's affecting this entire region.
You think about the global picture. There are a lot of consequences for climate change. One of the things we are concerned about in our changing climate system are tipping points where irreversible change happens. The variability in the atmosphere caused by all the extra moisture makes for more extreme weather, and we're really going to find it hard to adapt to.
While the Dominican Republic grapples with how a few extra feet of water a year has started a chain reaction of human adaptation that now threatens the country's environmental and economic survival, the water cycle continues to intensify, and more extreme weather events continue to affect populations all across the globe. What's happened in the Dominican Republic shows us how seemingly insignificant changes in the climate can have implications beyond anything we've ever imagined. What will be the next climate change chain reaction? Where will we see the next Lake Enriquillo?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's always so good to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. You know what to do when you get on here. Make sure you like and share, and also make sure you do your @followers and @highlight. I know some of you was live with me earlier, so you would have already used your @followers for the day. But if you haven't, please use your @followers, and if you haven't used it for the week, please do that now. We would really, really, really appreciate that. And so thank you all for joining me here. Those of you who are here, we need to have a serious conversation about our country. We got to have a conversation about this country that we're living in. We have to. If we don't have this conversation, I don't know what else we're going to do. And so before we get to there, I just want to welcome all of you who are joining us. Just tell me where you are joining from. Wherever you are, just tell me where you are joining from. If what constituency are you in? What town or city are you in? Where are you around the world? Let us know where you are joining us from, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know where you're joining us from. All right. So let me see. I know we have a little delay. So let me know where you're joining us from. Where are you? I see @followers. Okay. Angie's in Freeport. Thank you, Angie. Brenda Ferguson is in Marco City. Phil McPhee is in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, Fort Lauderdale. Fox Hill. Sandra is in Fox Hill. Patrice is in Fox Hill. And Elizabeth Sage. You were in two places at one time. You got to teach me that trick. Lorraine is in Freeport. Eddie is watching in Abaco. Says Shandino. Okay, I got to go. You're moving so fast now. You're rolling. All right. Let me go back up. Okay, that's Lorraine. Darren Hall says, come to Lutra. We are on the way. Shandino Hall is in East Grand Bahama. Thank you, Shandino Hall. Denton Ferguson is in Exuma. Fox Hill. Who's in Fox Hill? Save Our Sons organization. Yes, we got to save our sons. That is very important. That's why we fight. Elaine is in Exuma. Shakira is in Freeport. We are everywhere. Favor Tina is in Bamboo Town. Dillis Green is in Nassau. Thank you, Dillis. Welcome. D Bull is in Phoenix, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm sure it's very, very hot. Portia Edgecombe is in Seabreeze Lane. Welcome, Portia. Valencia Raming is in Fox Hill. She's a Fox Hill gal. Marvin Storr is in Kalani. Brendan Carey is in Garden Hills. Tamala Nicole's Farm is in Monastery Park. Who's in Greencastle, Eleuthera? Marva McKinney is in Greencastle, Eleuthera. Julia Sanders is in Mount Moriah. Clarence Williams says hello. What is this? Mazati. Oh Lord, don't kill me because it's moving. Mazati Tud a percenti. I know I mangled that, but I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're tuning in from Dunmore Town, Harbor Island. Shira Pratt is in Freetown and Long Island. You got to teach me that witchcraft where you could be two places in one. That is special. Althea Ferguson is in Kalani, in the house, getting ready to vote them out. Basil Lightburn, we are voting COI Bahamian Party. Yes, this is the party for Bahamians. All right. Robert Malone is in Marsh Harbor. Welcome, Robert Malone. Donnell Mitchell is from Freeport and Marco City. Lachelle is in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome, Michelle. Mario Bain is done his at followers. Thank you, Mario Bain, making sure all your followers know what's going on. All of you, make sure put in your at followers now. Scotty Farrington is in Central. Andres, welcome, Central Andres. We know Andres is having some fire problems too. Deborah Ramming says she's watching from Nassau. Good evening to you also. Ina Knowles is in Nassau. Benjamin Dames is watching from Nassau. Welcome, Mr. Dames. Patrick Kelly is watching all the way from Kelani. Charles Johnson, good evening. I am always watching. Thank you, Charles. Anishka did her ad highlight. Thank you so much, Anishka. Make sure that everyone, see the numbers are going up. As you all do your ad followers and ad highlights, you all people will get the notification. They're blocking me, but they can't block all of us. All right. So make sure do your ad followers or your ad highlight. All right. Hensel is watching from Pine Ridge in Freeport. Yes. Getting ready to make a change in Pine Ridge. We got McNeil in Gregory Town, Eleuthera. Thank you, McNeil. People are calling my phone already. Brian Higgs is watching from. My phone is ringing off the hook. All the phones ringing. You think something happened to Brave or Brave dancing again? Every phone ringing. That means these people they ain't watching the live. I mean, they didn't get their notification. Blessed is in Kalani. Leslie is in Burnett. Is in where are they? Kennedy. They're tagging people. Tabitha Culmer is in Eleuthera. Thank you, Eleuthera. Well, we got a lot of Eleuthera on the other night. A lot of Fort Lauderdale. We need a Fort Lauderdale constituency. Clarence Williams is in Fort Lauderdale. Scotty Doxson, my boy, all the way in Freeport. Lizzie is in Mangrove Key. Yes, Miss Turnquest. Mangrove Key in the house. Sandra Camp is in Tall Pines. Glenville McCartney is Hammond, Louisiana. All right. I had a chance to live in Shreveport, Louisiana one time ago. And so Brenda, you did your ad followers. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, let's get these numbers up. Do your ad followers and your ad highlight. All right, Shakira's in Freeport. Louise DeVoe is in Eleuthera. Jamon Darling is on the road on I-95. Oh my God, you're watching on the road. Smart man. Make sure you got your phone in your holder now. David Davel is watching from Abaco in Abaco. All the way in Abaco. Abaco is on fire also. All right. Portia Edgecombe is in Seabreeze Lane. What else we got here? De La Page Carey is in Carmichael Road. Queen Sheba. Did I highlight? Thank you, Queen Sheba. Appreciate you, man. Anishka Rose in Golden Isles. Tabitha's in Eleuthera in the house. Yes, Eleuthera taking over. Look at we got Eleuthera in the bag. Veronica, thank you for your ad followers. Ravita L. Rule is watching from Eleuthera. Then we got Abaco in the house. That's Julia. Leslie is in Tall Pines. Leslie is in Tall Pines. Boy, my phone is ringing off the hook. Something must be going on. Thank you for your ad highlight, David. Patrick Stewart is in Tall Pines. Diane is in Freeport. Oh my God, Freeport in the house. Rudy is in oh, he's in Heller. Julia Corley Roll is in Fire Trail. All right. All right. Oh, it's Queen of Sheba is in Turks Island. All right. Welcome. Welcome. I learned a lot from Turks Island about the things that I'm doing. I know everything didn't go according to plan. Why is my phone ringing so much? I mean, everyone is calling me. Is something going on? Both of my phones are ringing off the hook. Okay. We have Ian Bethels in Freeport. I was saying Turks and Caicos. I learned a lot from you guys. You may be surprised to know that when I was in law school, when I went to law school in Buckingham in 2008, it was and you would reject a call and people would just keep calling. If someone rejects your call, that means that they see your call, or if they miss your call, they're going to get the call. They're going to see they missed the call and they can call you back when they get some time. You don't have to keep calling over and over. But anyway, I was in law school in Buckingham, and Michael Mizik's stepdaughter was there. You know, he was married to a very famous celebrity lady, and her daughter was in school. She was very shy to herself. And I got a chance to have conversations with Michael Mizik. I even eventually brought him to the Bahamas and interviewed him, you know, later. But that's when I started to see how a country could do for their people. How a country could have crown land and just issue it to their people, anyone who wanted it. I saw the students from Turks and Caicos who were in that school. Everything was covered. They had their room and board was covered. Everything was covered. Their education was covered. I was like, what? Your country is paying for all of this? They were like, yeah. That was amazing to me. When their people get in health trouble, they would take their people and send them wherever they needed to get better health care. That was amazing to me. So I really wanted to talk to Michael Mizik and see how it is that he, you know, could just change the game like that. And that is what he did. I know he made some personal mistakes later, but it was you could take the good and leave the bad. And what he did was he empowered his people. He did what he could to empower them. He changed the thinking. So that when the pandemic started, they started issuing checks to their people from their sovereign wealth fund. They did a sovereign wealth fund. I was like, wow, if they can do a sovereign wealth fund, why can't we have a sovereign wealth fund that our people can benefit from? All right. Some said TI is still under the British. Yeah, but they have self-government. I know they took them back over because of the mistakes of Michael Minnis, but the British doesn't do it. You know, they don't issue checks to their citizens, but the TI does it. So they made that decision to do so. All right. And we need to do the same thing. It changed my thinking. And I got to advise him. Even when he got in trouble, you know, he was asking me for advice on what to do and that kind of stuff. And I counseled him. And basically what I told him was just turn yourself in. Don't run. You know, someone is tagging Washington Mizik. Washington Mizik also had some great ideas, the older brother, but it was really Michael who really put it into play. And Washington now is carrying this stuff on. So I thank you guys in Turks and Caicos for leading us in the Bahamas, for leading us and showing us the way and inspiring someone like me who is going to fight all he can to make sure that our Bahamian people benefit from everything we have. And so we're going to have this conversation tonight. All right. So sit with me tonight and you're going to understand everything. I'm going to show you a country that has an interesting number one export. Their number one export is something very interesting that is going to blow your mind. Their number one natural resource is going to blow your mind. We're going to watch a video with that, and then we're going to talk about everything about it. But before we get there, I had an interesting day. So I couldn't get to all of your texts, but please continue to share and do your @ followers, etc. I heard yesterday there was a fire. I was busy straight through all week from last week. I was extremely busy. And so I decided I was in the area. So I decided to go and see for myself and start the investigation on what's going on. You know, when I start investigations, I investigate and I investigate deeply. I will I will pick up every sliver of DNA. I will pick up every paper and roach and get to the bottom of exactly what is going on. And that's what we did today. I went into that area because we have not had a forest fire in the Western District for years now, for about 2 years now, just over 2 years since we have gone in that area and possessed the land. And we ran those coal makers out of town. And while we were doing it, there were people in denial. And this is what's so amazing. There were people just because of their political affiliations. When we started saying that these people are making coal and exporting the coal, they're doing it. The minister responsible came on TV and he said, no, it's Bahamians doing it. And he was right. Bahamians are helping them, but it's not them doing it. You understand? Because it was being done for export to Haiti, along with some consumption here. Someone even went to the point of showing me that there's a Bahamian company, alleged Bahamian company, that actually sells coal in the food store. But that's not where the problem was. And they were ignoring the problem. And they were trying everything to just ignore the problem and pretend it didn't exist. Until we found the coal mine. And that's when we had the infamous incident with the gun. And, those guys never came back. All right. That's when it was really exposed. Remember when we first went in that area, they tried to put a gate up to block us from being in that area. We showed how they were right there with the PLP generals in the same area. As they cleared for the PLP generals, they would take the coal and they had the road leading right to where they would make the coal. And we showed all of this. And after, we came in that area, they started just lighting because we met them. The place was burnt and there was a lot of fire. And we didn't understand how this was happening. And one of the Haitians told me, he's not a Haitian a Bahamian of Haitian, and he's a Haitian. He said, and I knew him for years now. And he said, they burn it to start the process. They do it better than they did in Haiti, because in Haiti, you cut down the tree and then do the process of the kill, and then it'll take longer. But if you burn the tree first, you've already started the process that you do in the coal kill of baking the coal. And so you burn the tree to make it easier to manage. You could knock it down easier, and you just burn the whole area. And then you come back and you just collect it. It's easy to handle and everything else. And you've already started the process. And so it's a shorter period of time to have it in the coal kill. It was like, that's why they burn the forest. And so that's what they had done in that area. They'd cleared a lot of the area, they'd burnt it down, et cetera, et cetera. And then the government went to start to blame us. And I was like, why is the government so adamant about blaming Bahamians for what they know that these Haitians are doing? They were covering up. And it was because government officials were involved in this smuggling. And so later we found out that through investigations that in the back of the yard of Member of Parliament for Southern Shores, what's his name? Leroy Major, who was a pastor of Pilgrim Baptist Church, they would bring in the containers, and we showed all the pictures of all of this. I won't show it again. They would bring in the containers and then fill it with coal and other stuff and export it to Haiti. And so for those people who say, oh, they don't export, they sell it right on Cowpen Road, etc., we were able to show the containers being filled in the back of on Leroy Major's property, and also another one on Baintown, but a Leroy Major, who's a member of Parliament for Southern Shores. I think he is responsible, isn't he responsible for BAIC at the time? And so this comes under their responsibility. And so when we saw that, we were shocked. And it's right in his yard where he lives. There's his yard where he lives, and right behind it is a piece of crown land they gave him that he should have been doing farming on, but he had the Haitians coming there, filling the container and sending it out of the country. Every problem we have in this country is because of corruption. And so because the PLP is making money from this, they allowed it. Okay? And so they are connected to all of the skullduggery that's going on. Remember the last coal kill that I exposed? They did nothing. They send the fire truck. They clearly couldn't find it. They bring it there. They ain't put a drop of water on that. So they're letting this country burn. That's what's going on. They're letting the country burn so that these people can make money and they can make money exporting. I showed you that video that I showed here before. Someone says he's one of them. I can believe that. I showed you the video in the beginning to show you that the Dominican Republic is now being affected because corrupt persons there are making the coal illegally and selling it to the Haitians. Why? As you saw them say, because Haiti has run out of coal themselves. So they have to go and buy it from the Dominican Republic because they destroyed all of their trees. So they are trying to find places to get these trees and this coal from. And the Bahamas is being used as one of those places. And so the best way to do it is to burn down the trees. Just burn them. Burn the trees and they'll be destroyed. And no one will care if they see you cutting the tree. They hear your chainsaw, they wouldn't, oh, that's them, burn up trees. And so that's what started to happen in Andres when we chased them out of the well fields. They went to Andres and there were immediately fires, major fires. And now they can take their time and go and collect the trees in Andres. The same thing is happening in Abaco. These are not coincidences. All right? I do not believe that. What I saw today as I went to start my investigation, to start it, was this was some planned thing. You could see where the fires were started. And guess what? The government ain't gonna do nothing. Nothing. Why? Because Brave says they're his people and he can look out for them. He's always look out for them and he always will. So you saw all that happened on the live earlier. If you haven't seen it, go and watch that previous live. It'll be right under this one on the news feed. On my page. Go and watch it. You could see the cut up logs, just like you saw in that video. The cut up limbs, etc. For coal. And so this is intentional. This is intentional. All right. And so the country is being destroyed because of the corruption of these evil, corrupt politicians. And if Bahamians don't take this country back, we're going to be in problems. You hear me? We got to take this country back now. We have to vote for change. These Haitians are burning us out of house and home. They've moved into that area, and now the fires have started. They've been emboldened by the corrupt, crooked politicians who want to make money exporting this coal to Haiti at our expense. All of our forests around the nation are being burnt down. But I am the leader of a movement that is on assignment from the Most High to take this country back and give it to the people and to make sure that every Bahamian benefits from our natural resources and our carbon credits. This is a movement for change that is bigger than all of us. This is a movement for change. They can tell you all they want that I'm selling dreams. But we are going to stand up so that we don't have to live in their nightmare anymore. This is a movement for change. We are going to benefit from our natural resources. No Bahamian will be poor in this country again. Before I finish that conversation about the evil that these people are doing, I want to show you another video. Very interesting video. It's about a country similar to ours, an archipelago called Fiji. Does anyone know what Fiji's #1 export is? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. What is Fiji's #1 export? What is Fiji's #1 export? Anyone? Let's go. Come on. What is Fiji's #1 export? #1 export. Let me see. I'll wait. Fiji's #1 export. Come on. I know y'all good for this. What is Fiji's? That's a country. Country. Small archipelago just like us. Someone says pineapple. Someone says water. Someone says oil, water. You didn't Google that yet? Sand. Look at someone says sand. Water, water, water. How kind of people saying water? This is water. Anyone else? Let me see. Someone says coal. Fruits. Water again. Gold. Someone says gold. Anyone else? Anyone else? Coconut. Someone says coconuts. Coconuts. That's a good answer. Coconuts. Coconuts. Mineral. 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 Okay. Well, let me tell you what it is. Before we do that, we are having a walkathon. We're having a walkathon. Someone sent me a flyer, but the flyer doesn't have any information on it. So if someone could send me the flyer with the actual information on it, they just sent a flyer that says Walk for Life 2024 with the Coalition of Independence, but it doesn't have any information about when it is, so I can't see it. No information about when it is. All right. So give me the information so I can let people know where the walkathon is. There's a walkathon in Grand Bahama. So someone please send me the information. There's a walkathon happening in Grand Bahama. And that is coming up shortly. I think it's on the 25th, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But can someone please send me the information so I can put it out there to make sure that everyone is on top of things. Well, the number one export in Fiji is water. All right, water. And so Fiji water, they actually export water. Now I'm going to let you watch this video. Give me 10 minutes of your time. And when we finish, this is going to be what they used to have. Reading comprehension, listening comprehension. This is watching comprehension. I want you to watch this video and look for the similarities between Fiji and the Bahamas. And then we're going to talk about all this fire and all this stuff that's going on again. But it's going to make even more sense once we tie it all together. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get this ready for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch a video about Fiji and their number one export. But that's not the important part of this video. The important part of this video is when you see the history of Fiji and where they came from and what happened to them and what happened. And then you compare it to what's happening to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to step aside and let you educate yourself about Fiji. Oops.
This is the story of how a small island nation was able to transform itself from relative isolation and a poor plantation-based system to fame and fortune just by slapping a sticker on bottled water. Of course, I'm talking about Fiji and Earth's finest water, Fiji water. There really is only one way to experience the beauty of these islands. You know what I'm talking about. So I took a flight to Fiji. Oh, that's awkward. I guess I can experience the magic of Fiji through this water bottle instead. Fiji water was originally made by a Canadian businessman in 1996, but later bought out by a California company in 2004. The guy who made Fiji water had also made the Southern Pacific Hotel in Fiji in the 1960s, so I guess he saw some potential in these islands. And I guess the Americans saw the potential too. Fiji water is ranked as the favorite bottled water in the USA among all age groups except for baby boomers. Now, apparently, this water comes from an artisan underground aquifer on the Fijian island of Viti Levu and is slowly filtered by volcanic rock to give it a soft, smooth taste. Their words, not mine. I don't know how much I believe that this water has some sort of naturally sweet flavor superior to tap water somehow, but after trying my first sip of Fiji water ever, I can say it tastes exactly like water. It doesn't matter if I think it's crazy though, because around 70% of Americans prefer bottled water to tap water, and as the fan favorite of the country, Fiji water has a clear advantage in the world's largest consumer market. Suck on that, Avion. In reality, Fiji water does not have a clear advantage over other water brands in terms of taste. They are just simply better at advertising. They sold the nation of Fiji as a luxury brand. The packaging invokes tropical images that just make me want to guzzle down water, and they're not shy to celebrity endorsements. It's the water that rich people drink. You can love it or hate it, but you have to admit it is wildly successful. Some people accuse Fiji water of not being very environmentally friendly, which is true. It sells bottled water after all, profiting from military coups and not paying a dime in taxes. Others just enjoy the sweet taste of Fiji and love a simple swig of water. Whatever it is that made Fiji water blow up in the US doesn't really matter. What does is the fact that it has made water Fiji's largest export, nearly all of it through Fiji water. That's right, water as their largest export from a country in the middle of nowhere goes against all conventional economics. Water is generally very heavy to move and quite expensive to export. Most countries export water by actually exporting food, so the other country saves on the water that would be used to grow that food, but not Fiji. The water export grew from around $150 million in 2009 to $260 million in 2021, and it makes up nearly a quarter of all their exports. Just goes to show how far some people will go for anything considered luxury. Almost all of it, around 92% of the water, goes to the USA, and almost 30% of imported water in the US comes from Fiji, beating out Italy, which makes Fiji water the most imported water brand in the country. But despite being a small, mostly import-based country, their exports are remarkably complex. That's because this water is a fairly new phenomenon. They had to build an economy before Fiji water. Yet when you look at their economy now, it's not built from this 75%. In fact, their biggest export by far isn't even on this list. It's tourism. Tourism in Fiji has grown massively since the 80s and 90s. I mean, just look at these beaches with water so blue you wouldn't be able to find the Blue Man Group in it. Sand so smooth you could put it in a smoothie. Weather so nice you ain't ever gonna leave. And jungle so green you'll be wondering if you can even see other colors. By 2017, tourism was a $2 billion industry, twice as much as all the goods they export in 2021, making up around 40% of their GDP and over 100,000 jobs. Could Fiji water have legitimately sold the idea of a luxurious Fiji to the world and sparked them as a new tourist hotspot? Maybe. But most of their tourists, especially nowadays after the pandemic, are Australians, mostly from proximity. The water is popular there, sure, but not as big as in the US. Then it's New Zealander tourists, probably from proximity again, and then American tourists. But European tourists who, okay, are a little further than the Americans, but are roughly the same wealthiness as them, travel to Fiji almost 5 times less than their Yankee counterparts. And China is no stranger to sending millions of tourists abroad. They are by far the largest tourist generator in the world. Why aren't they lounging on Fiji's beaches? A nice explanation is simply that Fiji doesn't sell as much Fiji water to Europe and China as they do to North America and Australia. But is that really true? Their tourism revenue graph didn't really pick up until the 2000s when Fiji water hit international markets, and their per capita income kind of at the same time, but this is much less convincing. So it really begs the question, a chicken and egg sort of question. Did Fiji water spark Fiji's tourism industry, or did Fiji's tourism industry create Fiji water's international success? I don't really have an answer, probably both. What I can tell you is it might have improved the lives of Fijians. But to answer how, we need some quick context. How is Fiji set up, and how did the average Fijian live throughout history? I'm sure you know that Fiji is a group of islands way out here in the Pacific. It's made of mainly Viti Levu in the south and Vanuatu in the north. It was originally settled by Melanesians 3,500 years ago who lived in small, mainly coastal communities, doing some subsistence agriculture and slash and burn farming. Was it a peaceful little utopia where everyone lived in harmony with nature and everyone took and made only what they needed? No, obviously not. Nowhere on Earth was like that. Hierarchical clans, often centralized by a chief, fought over territory to form confederations and pay blood debts. These chiefs were usually based on merit, not bloodline, and societal heavy lifting was put on the family unit, so they definitely were not absolute rulers. It more or less stayed like that until skip a few thousand years and they made contact with European sailors. The British, having heard a rumor of mysterious cannibals in these islands, were pretty slow to interact with the islands in the early 1800s. They're only really here to trade and spread the word of Jesus. What did they want? Sandalwood. Why? I guess it smells good. And it was an exotic luxury. Anything for that social status. What did many chiefs get in exchange for heavily taxing their people to produce that sandalwood? Duh, the only thing of value these sailors had. Guns. There's a super common theme in history that whenever European sailors made contact with a hierarchical society, they would trade guns for exotic goods or slaves. And that hierarchical society would get even more despotic, almost tyrannical, and some chief or ruling elite would subjugate and extract from everyone else, structuring the whole system around collecting that good. And they were the ones in charge because, they owned the guns. This happened in Fiji under Ratu Tanoa and his son Kakobau. Long story short, Kakobau got into a ton of debt, and instead of taking out even more loans like the rest of us, he sold a big chunk of Viti Levu to the Polynesia Company in 1868. He eventually ceded the whole land to the UK, and Fiji was a British colony in 1874. The Polynesia Company set up many plantations for Fijians to labor at, but the new British rulers said, whoa, have a heart. This is Fijian land. We shouldn't make the Fijians serfs on their own territory. We can do so much better. Let's just import Indian slaves. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Indentured Fijian labor was banned, and Fijian land was not allowed to be sold to non-Fijians under British rule. Even that magical Fiji water aquifer we saw, that's on a 99-year lease. The Fiji Water Company does not technically own that land. Indians were brought in to work mainly in agriculture, especially in sugar. Sugar was Fiji's cash crop before they realized they could sell water to hipsters, making up over 50% of their exports for most of its history, particularly selling it to Europe through the government-owned Fiji Sugar Corporation. It worked to keep native Fijians, also called Itauke, on top of the Indo-Fijians. Even today, they make up the bulk of the low-paying jobs and agricultural sector in Fiji, even some parts having separate communities to live in. When it was time for independence in 1970, the population was split rather 50-50. Fijian politics was dominated by the Itauke, yet from a growing Indian population, the 1987 election was won by an Indian-dominated coalition. That didn't go well with Itauke politicians. 4 coups. Fiji has had 4 coups since 1987. 2 actually in 1987 after Itauke protested and members of the ruling party were arrested. They went to military rule, then slight democracy in the 90s, and an Indian prime minister won in 2000s. So another coup in 2000 under a Fijian nationalist government, and then another coup in 2006, mainly over the government threatening to sell coastal land to private companies and being accused of corruption. During this time, the economy stagnated as confidence deteriorated, infrastructure broke down, and the crime rate jumped all over. But surprisingly, this military rule was less corrupt, more efficient, abandoned racist policies, and even encouraged fled Indians to come back. They also instituted democracy again in 2014, and every election since has been won by the Fiji First Party. So you really wonder which group is in power, huh? By now, the Indo-Fijian population had shrunk to less than 40% of the population, mainly due to immigrants fleeing the country or working international jobs for a better standard of living. I mean, 20% of Fijians do not even live on the island, most of these being Indo-Fijians. It's even estimated that 10% of their national income is made up of remittances or money sent back home from overseas workers. So when you add up people coming to see their country plus money sent home from overseas, it adds up to half of what they produce. Fiji is made on openness to the world. Openness possibly created by shipping Fiji water to the USA. Well, it's a bit of a stretch to say that, considering for most of history they were a rather racial, sugar-based economy, only recently opening up to tourism. But this water plus tourism combo did help them slightly break out of these prejudicial, poverty-making institutions by creating better economic times, even if it's a little sensationalized. Now watch me try the Fiji Chug Challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love how that young man put everything together, and that's why I played it. So credit for that video goes to. Ladies and gentlemen, I love. Sorry about that. Credit for that goes to Hoser. I think that's what his name is, Hoser, Hoser. He put it together very nicely, and the credit for the first video goes to Vice. Now, classes in session. What similarities do you see? One, they have a natural resource. They have a very scarce natural resource. They claim that their water is special. They say it comes from an underground reservoir, and it's special water. The place is nice, clean. You get the picture of you get the picture of paradise. So you're drinking water from paradise, and they promoted their water. And by promoting their water, they actually promoted their country. But their natural resource was taken over by foreigners. It was first a Canadian, then Americans bought it. But in order to protect themselves, they had to put some rules in place. And one of those rules was that a foreigner can't own land. That's the way it was before until Ingram came in. And so even the land that where the water reservoir is and where their headquarters is, that company doesn't own it because it's a foreign company. And so they do that to protect the little that they have. But they started exporting water, not just Fiji water, but they started exporting water, and it's their biggest export. In 2022, it was, I think, like almost $500 million, like 400 and something $million. You saw in 2021, after that slow period, it was over $200 million just in export of water, just water, right? But I want you to notice their history. I'll get back to talking about the resources in a minute. I want you to notice their history. The British came in and they were in charge. And what you always do if you want to keep a people under control is you bring in foreigners and let them flood that country, increase their population till it matches the local natives, and it causes those people to be in such disarray and conflict so that the foreign powers will always be able to control them because they're always at war. And so you force them, you bring in the other people as cheap labor. And so the original people will fall for that because they want cheap labor too, until later they see that they're being replaced. And so the Indians, in that case, were cheap labor, and they were brought into Fiji, and they started to replace the original Fijians on their jobs and everywhere else, until it reached a point. You always use immigration to keep control, until it reached a point where they matched them in population. And the people, they say, these poor Indians, let's just help them. Let's give them jobs. Let's let them work for us. They'll be good, submissive, until the Indians started to be in control. And then the next thing, after independence, they match their population. And so they're never going to vote against themselves, while the original Fijians are going to be split because they have their, they have their preference, whatever parties they were supporting before. That's their preference. So no matter what, they'll say, I'm a Fiji PLP, I'm a Fiji F&M. I don't care. I don't care how much Indians come to this country. I just PLP. Well, too bad. I just going down with the ship. And that's the attitude. And so the Indians voted for their party. They formed their own party. Their party. And their Indian or Fijian of Indian descent became the leader of the country. And then the people, that's what happened next. And then the people of the country woke up and said, hold on, what just happened? While we were fighting each other, while we were forming all kind of third parties and all this stuff because we just want to be rulers and we can't get together and we weren't seeing what was happening, they were working together. And they took the whole country over. And one of theirs became leader of the nation. They let a foreigner become president of their nation. Because they didn't pay attention to the fact that they were being overpopulated. And I kept saying to all of you under the sound of my voice, to all of you, we live in a democracy. In a democracy, majority rules. And so once they flood us, what you see happening now, you go to the passport office, they're flooded. You go to Mr. Photo, you come see who taking passport pictures. Them. You go to NIB, they are the ones flooding the NIB. They getting the cards, the NIB cards. You as a Bahamian getting paper. You ain't getting no card. They don't have no more cards for you. They getting cards. Bahamas, y'all better wake up. The Indians stuck with themselves. They swung one of the original parties, whichever party they felt was going to do what they want. They swung them and they voted with them back and forth. And they made each one of them party think we could be loyal to you, we could be loyal to you. The next thing, boom, they formed their own party and it was over. So you know what had to happen? Because there was someone in Fiji just like me, warning everybody, you're getting overpopulated, you're better listen. These people taking over. And when they took over, you see what they started to do? They tried to sell out all the beachfront property, all the valuable land, them beaches in Fiji. You ever saw them beaches in Fiji? They got beaches. That seawater looks so good, you want to drink that. The sand looks so good. And them foreigners start to sell out everything. So they had to do a coup. They had to say, yeah, we outnumbered now. We see what's happening. We should have listened to the activists and the politician like Lincoln Bain, who was telling us we got to defend our country. And guess what they were calling them? Xenophobic. Oh, y'all xenophobic. The foreigners got to come here and work. You see, the British is smart. They know how to keep you in subjection. Always use immigration. And they was overthrown, and then they had to do a coup. They had 4 coups since 1987. 2 of them was in 1987. In 1987, they realized, hold on, these Indians taking over our country. No, we got to stand up and fight. And they stood up, and they fought. Bahamas, don't let it come to the point where we got to stand up and fight, because I'm telling you what coming. Everything I say comes to pass. If we don't vote out the PLP and FNM this election, what happened to Fiji will happen to us. And it will be over. Right before your eyes, there's no law for them. They are flooded in. As soon as election happened, ladies and gentlemen, they flooded Inagua. Flooded. The word was on the street. They got a Haitian prime minister. Everybody come. The COI had to jump in a plane and force their hand and expose everyone. But on the airlines, and I was live, and we were telling the people, this can't work. Gotta send them back. And we forced their hands. Forced them to put them in them planes. They was making excuses. Then we started to notice that even though that happened, all the shanty dams was growing and it was exploding, and the governors were pretending that it wasn't happening. Oh, shanty dam problem. Don't listen to Lincoln. They talking foolishness. Oh, they xenophobic. They don't want these people to live. Stop hating. Leave these people alone. Remember? Until we jumped on the plane, went over there and showed you. This thing went from this big to this big. And the government allowed it to happen. They watched it to happen. Immigration was saying that they got instructions to leave them people alone. Police got instructions to leave them alone. Defense force got instructions to leave them alone. It's happening, Bahamas. So they're going to have to come and try to silence me. Because allowing these people to immigrate has nothing to do with humanitarianism. It has to do with destabilizing a nation to keep control over it. You all listen to the words I'm saying. Appreciate these words. Heed these words, these warnings, or you're done. I'm going to fight to my last breath. We're going to do this by the laws of man. But when the laws of man fail you, what did Fiji do? They went to the law of the jungle and they did a coup. No one is taking over the Bahamas. We can fight for this. You all stand with me. It's happening. Brave Davis and them have sold us out. It's happening. Right before your very eyes. Same about hate. I don't hate nobody. I just love us. I love my Bahamas. I love my country. I love it. Now it's being destroyed. Y'all let's stand and fight with me. Y'all don't let's not just pray for this nation. Let's fight for this nation. Y'all let's put aside our differences, put aside our political colors, and unite together as one people, standing up for what is ours. I don't despise a Haitian man who will do what he can to take care of his children. That's his job. I despise a Bahamian man that would sit down and let a foreigner take bread out of his child's mouth, take a job from his child, take a hospital bed from his child, take a college desk from his child. We got to fight for ours, and this is ours. It's happening. There's a takeover. And so you saw what happened to Fiji. They had to do a coup to get that right. When that coup came in, that they had to get out by a coup, they were so corrupt. See, that is not their country of birth. That wasn't the country they identify with. They identify with India. They didn't identify with. Do you know how Rome fell? Do you know? Well, people have their theories, but Rome fell from inside, from within. Rome was so busy being powerful and living and balling and living their best life, they started letting the Gauls in. And the Gauls were the laborers. The Gauls came in, and they were the laborers, and they were the persons who was doing the manual work, and a lot of them were slaves, etc., etc. The barbarians came, and they started to see that Rome was weak, and they took advantage of it. And then the Gauls saw that they were weak, and the Gauls helped them. They were both foreigners. The Gauls felt they were foreigners, and the barbarians were foreigners, so they worked together. Like the Chinese and the Haitians now working together in the businesses. Well, because of the Gauls defeated them from on the inside. The Gauls is what we now know as the French. Isn't that ironic? And that's how Rome fell, because they let all these foreigners come in, and then the foreigners destroyed them from within. Haiti was founded on corruption, and we can't let what happened there happen here. Napoleon was so busy fighting all over the world. He was thin. So the Haitians was able to overthrow the people who were keeping them. Yeah, it was an army, but they didn't really fight a war to free Haiti. They said, oh, Haiti freed all the black people. No, they did not. They overthrew the people who were there, the guards who were there overseeing them. They outnumbered them. And they overthrew them. And it took a long time. It took 13 or 14 years. But they eventually overthrew them. Napoleon was busy doing what he had to do around the world. And then when they caught themselves and they got the message that, oh, the slaves took over, they sent some ships to Haiti, parked it in the harbor, and they said, okay, what we're going to do is we see y'all misbehaving. It's like when the teacher leave the class and the children started going wild. They came back and they said, we see you misbehaving. So what we're going to do is we're going to make you an offer. Because you took our slaves from us, which is you have to pay us reparations for all the money we're losing because we lost our slaves. And Haiti didn't have the money, so they would have to borrow the money from France in order to pay the reparations. So they were paying twice. Well, more than twice because the interest. So they sold out. They didn't fight for their freedom. They bought their freedom. And they became a worse kind of slave. The Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender. And so they became a worse kind of slave for years and years, and it destroyed their nation. And they kept them destabilized because they started out in debt. Back to Fiji, they used the immigrants, bringing in the immigrants to destabilize them. I'm not against immigrants. I'm for immigrants, but I want them to come work for us. I don't want us working for them. I want us building the houses. I want us living in the good neighborhoods. I want Bahamians opening the businesses and having others work for us. Whether they're American or European or Australian or Haitian or Chinese, they come work for us. Why do we have to be the labor? Who fooled you and told you that you have to be the slave? That you have to be the servant? Why can't it be the Bahamian who is royalty in his own country? Why can't we own the hotels? Why do we have to scrub the toilets? Come on, Bahamas. Let's change our thinking. This is the fight for our generation. We are not our grandparents anymore. My grandmother was a maid in Pinlin's house. Hilda Clark. Nay Roll. Exuma Roll was a maid in the Freedom Fighters' house. You see what the Freedom Fighters didn't do was empower us. They empowered themselves. And so my grandmother worked for Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinlin. My father worked at his gate as a police officer. I am ending the slavery. We are coming to take control of our country, and we are going to be a nation of kings. And we are going to be treated like royalty, all of us. Because now the white Bahamians and Chinese Bahamians and every Bahamian sees that as long as you're a Bahamian, you are nothing in this country. What is the advantage of being a Bahamian? As long as you're a Bahamian, you are nothing. And Toby learned that the hard way. He got the deal for Paradise Island. They threw him on the side as soon as RCI decided they wanted. Well, a foreigner once said, you're a Bahamian. Yeah, you might be white, but you're a Bahamian. You can't have it. Nothing in the Bahamas belongs to Bahamians. Remember when Luther wanted the area where Disney is now developing? And when I saw that, I said, well, they're Bahamians. It doesn't matter if they're white or black Bahamians or whatever they are. They're Bahamians. They will not win over any foreign country or company. Remember Ingram said Bahamians need not apply. This is happening right before your eyes. And you just want more of that? Do you think if you remove Brave Davis and put Pintard there, who is a puppet of Brent Simonet, You see, Ingram could control Brent Simonet a little bit. You see, Minutes could control Brent Simonet a little bit. Puppet Pintard, Brent Simonet, and the oligarchs and the white knights will run this country and run it in the ground. They will rape everything from this nation. Everything will be gone. Take a little detour. I see the F&M is having their little convention, their little fight. And I saw the theme of the Pintard crew was that Minutes needs to hand this over to the next generation. Well, what kind of fantasy land they living in? You're living, Nanny, the next generation. These two 60-year-old men, one a little more 60 than the other. And you're talking about pass to the next generation? Minutes is 69. He might be 70 by now, right? Pintard is 60. All right? I think he could be 60 in a couple of days. But anyway, he's 60. Right? That is not the next generation. Pintard is not young. It makes me wonder about the F&M's competency if they're going to call someone who qualifies to go on the senior citizen line in the bank, who actually qualifies at 60 for retirement from NIB, because you could do retirement at 60 or 65. If you call in the fellow who could legally retire and get a pension from NIB young, something wrong with our nation. Something is seriously wrong with our nation if the best the F&M could do is send us two grumpy old men. That's it. Pinland was 36 when he took over the country. Ingram was 42 when he took over the country. Obama was in his 40s. We need people old enough to have some good life experience, but young enough to have the energy and the vigor and the fight to make it happen. If all we got in this whole country is 60 and 70-year-olds to lead, I'm not saying that they can't contribute. We need them for their wisdom and their mindset, et cetera, but if that's all we got to lead, boy, we need to let them take over. We're going to turn this country over. We finish. If all we got is Pintard is going to be 62 at the next general election if it goes a full term. But please, Jesus Lord, don't let it go to full term. Minutes will be in the 70s. Pintard, 62 years old, well into his senior, going on the senior line in the bank. So what Pintard keeps doing is he keeps shaving all his hair off, all his mustache, everything. He shaves everything off to look young. And then he wears jeans and stuff like that, so people won't remember that he's old. We need a new Bahamas with new vision. You see what Fiji did? They took water. And they are making money with water. Remember I told you that we will go into different things that a country will own in order to make money. We will not make money from taxes now. We're not looking to survive off taxes. We're going to make money from our vision. You see? Someone says, Pintard is hitched to Fred Smith. Yes, that is true. Pintard worked for Fred Smith and saved the base. And so, all they want to do is let them people come in. They fought for that. Pintard fought with Fred Smith to let them people not be touched in the shanty towns, etc. So, you know what to expect if you vote for F&M. The oligarchs can take over. The country, they're going to be corrupt. They're not going to answer you. They can treat you like dirt. They can talk all the good talk before we get an old weekend. See, all they're doing is copying the change. They even saying change is here now. And they saying it's unstoppable. They got a say, oh Lord, they're all over the place. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at the comments. They got a PR team to come and advise them from the US, and they were saying that, you know, this fellow named Lincoln Bain, he's controlling the narrative. People only talk about what he talks about, and people is listening to him. So, you know, the PR team told the FNM, Pintard them, we'll just copy him. The fastest way to catch up is to copy, and that is PR 101. They say just whatever he says, you say it too. Whatever you do it too. And then eventually, people will associate, they ain't gonna know who was the originator. People forget easy. So just do whatever he does and say whatever he says. And that's when Pintard started doing a little protest, a little fake protest, and trying to cover immigration and that kind of stuff. And they started saying change and all this kind of stuff. So we let them talk about change going in the next election. Voting for the FNM again is not change. Voting for a 60-plus-year-old named Michael Pintard is not change. Voting for the Progressive Party is not change. That's that. So I just wanted to go there. But we're going to run a country with vision. They use water. I mean, the simplest of things. We got what everyone needs, sand. Fiji can't touch the sand on their beach because it's not renewable. It'll be gone. We have sand that renews in our ocean. We have so much that we could benefit from, but we don't have leaders with a vision. They want to tell you, one, remember the lie that there's no natural resources. Remember that lie? So now what do you believe? Remember the lie that carbon credits wasn't real? Lincoln Bain is selling dreams. Don't listen to him. Before election? So since last year, right before the by-election, the FNM and PLP were trying to figure out what they were going to do. And I'm just letting you know their strategies. And, you know, you can take it how you want. And they were trying to decide what they're going to do to deal with the COI problem. And they needed to neutralize me because nothing they were doing works. They're spreading lies. They would just throw a bunch of lies out there in hopes to confuse people. Because normally in politics, you just send a bunch of lies. And then when people hear it, they say, man, you're hearing this so much, it gotta be the truth, man. It gotta be true. Just keep saying it, and it gotta be true. But that's not working this time for some reason for them. So they said, you know what? We tried to form a fake party last time with Cassius and them, a fake coalition party. And so what we need to do is we need to replace him as a voice. And we need to have other people come on and be the voice of talking about natural resources and carbon credits and stuff. So let's get some other people talking about that, and let's rope them in and let's see what happens. And probably if they get enough traction, we could even get them to form another third party. And we'll see what happens with that. And so they are actively plotting every day to see how they could distract you from this movement. So if you see people out there saying what we're saying, but they can't come with us, it's a reason. Wake up. It's a reason. If you see people out there pushing the same message that we're pushing, but they're not willing to work with us for one reason or another, it's a reason. All right? It's a reason. Because if me and you have the same enemy, we're allies. That's automatic. I'm not going to say, you know what? Yeah, this person coming and kidnapping all our children in the community, and we need to stop him. We need to fight him. But I won't do it with you. Why? He's doing it to both of our children. Yeah. But I just don't want to do it with you. All right. And so what they want is to be in a position to be another voice. So there's money in this for activists, and there's money in this for other third-party leaders. They don't think that they could win. Think about it. As a third party, do they really seriously think that because they offer themselves, people are just going to vote for them? Like, it has never worked for them in the last 30 years. So they really think that just because we offered ourselves over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So this time, We see that last time they didn't vote for us, they voted for COI, but this time they can vote for us. And it seemed like the same cycle over and over and over. Why not work together? Because the biggest business in the Bahamas right now is to work against the COI. Go on social media and talk bad about Lincoln being in the COI. That's the biggest money maker in the country right now. Listen, I ain't on you. You notice I don't even send them sad to the police. I don't lock them up. I ain't taking bread over Bahamian mouth. Listen, say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do. If Bahamians believe the nonsense that these people put out, then that's on them. But if you see that someone else and you have the same mission, vision, everything, but they don't want to work together, think about that. No, we just want our own party. No. They are going to find another party to pay them, fund them. They're going to bring some good candidates. They're going to tell some people, listen, you all come together, and I want you to go to this party to make this party look good. We can have, after election, we can make sure you're straight, man. But just go with this third party. Don't worry, y'all straight. Y'all can show y'all face. Y'all get out there and campaign because you're really with us. And go with this other party, some credible people, and we can fund you. And that's the plan, all right? But the plan the COI has is a vision for the new Bahamas. A vision for us to own this Bahamas. That's our plan, all right? A vision that we will own this country. Smart vision. 21st century vision. You know, every day we have conversations about how we're going to improve this country. That's what they do in Dubai and Qatar and all this. They're talking every day about how they can improve the nation. I was having a conversation with Madam Chairman this week about how we're going to revitalize or redo waste management in this country. Sanitation. These smelly, dirty garbage trucks spilling garbage juice, what the children call Beetlejuice, all over the roads and all over the streets, coming in the middle of the night now, which was actually a good idea to do in the night time of the day, and making noise, and you got to put your garbage out on time to make sure it's there and ready to go. Do you know what countries in Europe do? You put your garbage in a garbage chute in front of your yard or on your block. You put your garbage in a garbage chute, and just like, you know, the bank, remember some of the banks used to have their teller, used to have a chute with a container that would use the vacuum air and send whatever it is to you through a tube. They use an air tube that sends the garbage straight from your house or your block and sends it straight to wherever it needs to go. So straight from your house to Harold Road, underground. They have these big 18-inch tubes in Disney World too. They're also in Roosevelt, New York, but they're all over Europe. There's no rodents, none, because the garbage isn't sitting out there waiting for a truck to come for it. See, we could. There's so much ideas to transform our country, but the only politicians only do what they could make money from, and that's why our country isn't advancing. So we're talking about things like your garbage now, just like how water and electricity is piped straight to your house. It goes in the chute. That chute takes it straight to where it needs to go to recycle it or to destroy whatever you want to do, waste energy or whatever you want to do. We need new thinking. And the thing is, most of these stuff are being done around the world right now. And these are countries where our leaders are traveling. How do you go to Europe? See that they don't have no garbage on the side of the road. See that the place is clean. There's no rodents running around. Because you just take your garbage, put it in the chute, whoop, that go to the recycle plant. And then you come back home, and then you just love it the way it is. But then you send pictures back of you and your wife partying and doing the step. What the song name? The African song? You doing step. Oh, our PM wife, our MP, they could dance good now. The countries they visit and have district cooling systems. You don't have to be hot in your house sweating. They have district cooling systems. How do these people travel around the world, experience this, and then don't even try to bring it back here? District cooling system means it's cool with cold water, reduces the load on the electricity grid by half. So if they need 400 megawatts, now they need 200. If they need 200, now they need 100. Easier to go solar. But if district cooling systems where cold water is pumped into pipes, into your community, into your building, into the mall, into the hotel, and the air blows off the cold water into your thing, and the cold water, once it gets warm, it goes back and it cycles. Just water going around. Easy. Everyone got AC. And it takes the load off the electric grill. Come on, man. They say they've been to Dubai. They've been to Qatar. They borrow money from these people. Why don't they come back with the good ideas they have to improve the lives of their people? But we just got to vote for them because that's just what we always was, right? You just always was PLP, so you just always got to vote for that. You just always was after them. No vision. We're going to have the Ministry of Education and Youth together, not Ministry of Youth and Culture. What? Youth, Sports, and Culture? No. Ministry of Education and Youth will be together. You see why that makes sense? The Ministry of Sports will be an international business for us. I saw, and it broke my heart, I saw Tony Williams, darling, and another athlete. They were disturbed. They see all the hype and the fluff and the pageantry of, oh, we had this big event. Look at our facilities and look at how we did good. We did this event and it came off well. And, oh, people bragging about, oh, they did the relays and it was so good. But the athletes did poorly. Why aren't you investing in the athletes like Jamaica does, like America does, like China does, like Russia does? Why aren't we investing in the athletes? The young man they interviewed, sorry, I forgot his name. He said, they had about 12 people or 8 people under 45. It was hard to qualify when he was running. Now it's hard to find someone. In order to have more races, they had to go down to high school. And then they covered it up by saying, yeah, we're trying to give the high school people some exposure. No, y'all haven't focused on down to high school and even lower. Y'all didn't focus on the real people. Y'all didn't invest in us. A lot of athletes begging for money to travel while you're all balling, eating caviar. But anyway, the Ministry of Tourism is going to be with the Ministry of Culture, for example. It's the reason I'm telling you all this stuff. The Ministry of Tourism is going to be with the Ministry of Culture. Why? Tourists come to your country to experience your culture. And so culture and tourism is going to be in one. Do you see why? Does it make sense? Don't worry, they're going to start repeating the things they had me say and act like it came from them. Tourists come to a country to experience their culture. I go to Orlando for its culture. What is its culture? Amusement parks. I go to Hawaii and I want to experience a culture. I want to experience the people. When I go to Japan, I want to experience a culture. We're going to transform this nation, Bahamas. You see? We're going to transform this nation. A lot of our vision is all from last election is already on our website, but we're going to transform this. We brought you Vision 2025, and we're now transforming that to Vision 2030. And we're going to release a document that's going to have all of the vision for the future. Someone says, we need a 100-year vision. No. You can put what you intend for your city for 100 years, but you have to write it in pencil. Why? You could never predict what's going to happen in 100 years. Why? If you were in the 1980s planning for your business or your country, you could never have predicted the internet and the impact of the internet and how that was going to change the game. So if you had done a 100-year plan, you would have been thinking about how things were at the time. You'd have been like Blockbuster, not wanting to evolve, and Netflix come and take them over. See? So we're going to make it so that we have a nation and a generation of people who keep innovating. And we have medium-term plans and short-term plans in order to get us into the future. See? We're going to make it so that Bahamians have the capital to follow their dreams because you are born with something in you. But the biggest problem that you have is that you don't have the capital to make it happen. And so what do you end up doing? Working in some hotel for a foreigner. Taking a police force job like I did because you just need a job. Working in something that is not you. And that's why I wrote a book called Identity Crisis, and I challenge everyone to write it. The book transformed lives all over the world. It was a very good bestseller. Go on Amazon and look up Identity Crisis by Lincoln Bain and read that book. That's what this mission is about. Raising up a nation of kings that can live their best life. I know I talked a lot tonight, because I'm traumatized at where this country is going, man. Phone lines are open, 803-5995, 803-5995. Call, let me hear what you have to say. If you have more of our, some of the more snippets of our vision. I keep telling y'all we're going into the cruise ship industry. We're going into the shipping industry. Wendell Lewis's very good book. I read it. Thank you, Wendell Lewis. Thank you. There's a lot that we can do. We're going to transform energy. And so I brought all of this up. 803-5995. You can WhatsApp call or you can regular call. I brought all this up because we are going into Vision 2030 and we want you to contribute. So tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m., we want you to go to our website. And you're going to be able to register for one of our platforms. So we're forming think tanks, and we're going to have meetings, all right, in different areas. So whether it's health, whether it's youth and education, whether it's sports, and of course for the think tanks, they're going to be separated, but the ministries are going to be together. So whether it's sports or whether it's energy reform, man, energy reform is going to be powerful. Good evening, you're live. Hello, you're live. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
My name is Betty Antonio. I'm in Santa
Hey,
Cruz.
turn down your whatever you're listening to me on.
Okay, I'm looking for the control now.
Okay.
Turn it off.
Okay, you find the control?
Yes.
Okay, this is Miss Benny Antonio from where?
Santa Cruz, Andros.
Welcome, Miss Benny Antonio.
Okay, thank you. I just want to get this out. I am a widow, a half-crippled widow.
Wow.
And my husband land, what he left for me, Queens Highway would split the land in half.
What?
60 plus years.
Hold on,
Queens
wait.
Highway run
You
through
have
the
land, so you and your husband have land, and they put the road through your land?
Yes, and we never knew that they could get paid for it. We never know because no one ever said nothing to him.
But
Faisal
mom,
was his daddy, and his daddy died and leave him in control. And when we started was in 2019 through our daughter. She called Wayne Monroe. She told him but that her daddy have land and the highway run through it. So he said, your daddy rich. She said, no, sir. My daddy don't have nothing. So he said, how come? Bring in your daddy and all his land paper and their passport. And we went in there. And he looked at it, he said, and he run through everything. He said, your daddy is the rightful owner. He said, now what happened? Government owe him. You listening to me?
wow. Wayne Monroe told you all that. Wayne Monroe told you all that.
Yes, but he wasn't in government then.
Yeah, so he in government now, so y'all should be straight. Mom, you are rich.
Straight. He said he can't handle the case no more because that would be a conflict of interest. But somebody in his office will handle the case.
So
There was a lawyer in his office who would take the case. I could call her name big and bold. What I'm saying is the truth. Her name is Regina Barnaby. She took over the case. Twice she said we didn't, you have to pay $1,500. So when this case comes to submission, I mightn't be calling the words right?
mm-hmm.
She said they could summon him if the government don't want to come to court. We paid the $1,500. Me and my husband, we paid $5,000. He took sick. And my son paid the other $1,000. He got the receipt for it.
Wow.
You know something? After my husband was sick bad in the hospital, I called the girl, the lawyer. I said, man, something has to come up. Something has to be straight. I said, what happened? She said, well, the prime minister won't come to the table. So I said, well, and that's the reason why we paid the $1,500. They say, if he don't want to come to the table, the $1,500, they could summons him. They could send out a summons. She ain't call it summons, but you know the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, well, so what happened to that? Mr. Antonio, let me tell you one thing. That's the prime minister, you know. You can't carry him to court. I said, no one is above the law. Why you can't carry him to court? I said, Donald Trump been to carry him to court. And he is a billionaire. I said, so why you can't carry? She said, well, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it.
What?
She said, call me back. When I call her back next week, they said she quit the flame. Because she didn't want Brave Davis, give him a summons to come to court. I said, poor, half-crippled woman. You hear me? Brave Davis trying to get the $300 million from that port authority, but he had to pay me for 60 plus years. They said they couldn't do nothing until my husband will done
Probated.
The will done being probated, everything my husband leave for me. But yet still, I feel like screaming tonight where I hate so bad. Then this lawyer, what he named, what called me last weekend, what he named? Gibson. He come on asking foolishness if we ain't getting no notification that the government run the road through the land. Because what happened is he think 60 plus years, man, the statute of limits done up for that. Let me tell you all something. I's a poor woman, and I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. If they can't straighten me and my children, we catching hell and we hurting, I will close off the road because I'm in Central Andros. North can't come south and south can't come north. You got to come through me.
I agree with you. That's your road. Mom,
that's my road.
Mom, let me say this to you. Every day I hear the stories of Bahamians who have been, just wronged, just ripped off by these politicians. Just hoodwinked. by them.
I mean,
And
let me tell you something, son. I don't have a husband. My husband is dead now 1 year and 6 months. I have no one to take care of me. My poor grandson, he trying his best. I don't know. Let me tell you something. Social services, you know, when they food coupon to stop that.
What?
So now they want you to die. You understand me?
Yeah.
I am the same person. I might be crippled. I might be walking, but I'm still walking with my cane. I am the same person. When my daughter get injured in the sea hauler, I is the same person who stood with Lincoln and I handcuffed myself to the Terry Christie gate. And if they gotta push me in my wheelchair in the middle of the highway, I will cut that road off. That's my road.
This Betty Antonio who called Perry Christie the big bird. So he just like you on Sesame Street. This Betty Antonio who called Perry Christie the big bird.
That's the woman. That's the woman.
Yeah, man, you was handcuffed to the gate with me. You got locked up with me, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. So I was getting locked up long time.
Something. I ain't gonna let on and play that. I ain't them set what to say a shovel is a big, fancy digging apparatus. A shovel is a shovel. I can give the world what it is.
Mom, I can say this to you. I fought for you and your children and your grandchildren. When everyone else said it was impossible, you'll remember. All the big time lawyers you all had said it was impossible. I'm going to say statue bar too, but I fought for y'all, and y'all got your settlement in the end. Persons got their payout. It was a big sacrifice for me. They attacked me. They did all kind of stuff.
What's your name?
Me?
Yeah.
Lincoln Bain.
Oh yeah, that's my child. That's my child, and he know how I go. That's why I can't get help from nobody else. I can call Mr. Bain. I want help. I can barely walk. I have a walking cane, and I have 2 wheelchairs. One sitting on the porch and one in the kitchen.
We need to build a house in the middle of that road, man. But, Mom, I can say this to you. I hear every day of Bahamians who get railroaded just like this, and I'm tired of hearing this. And I could tell you, and I could promise you, and I could assure you, I think we lost the call, but I can assure you that I am going to fight for every Bahamian who were wrong, whether it was Ingram, Christie, whoever wronged them, persons whose land was taken away from them. It's scores of people going through the same thing. People who were bullied. There's an old lady just like her. They own Half Moon Key. Ingram just take the beachfront part of it. It was 440 acres. He just take 40 acres and give it to Disney. Say, all sue me. That's what Ingram do. Well, you only know what to do with this land. And he just took it. Because they can't fight. I'm going to right the wrongs of every Bahamian who was wronged in that way. That is a promise, a solemn promise. You all screenshot this and you all watch me. As soon as the COI gets in the power, you remember these words. Every Bahamian who was wronged in that way, you will receive justice and your fair compensation, because this is our money what they spending up. This is our money they took and gave to Shane Gibson and Frank Smith and Clayton Fernanda and all these other people. This is our money. So if they could write them, I'm going to write every Bahamian who road was put on their land and they ain't get paid. We can right the wrongs. So we fighting for. And he asks you all to fight with me and watch. Watch the difference. Royalty time. It's royalty time. It's time for us to be royalties, and it's time for us to collect royalties. It's time for us to be royalty in our country, and it's time for us to collect royalties. It's time for a vision for New Bahamas. It's time for a country that works. It's time. So everywhere we go, people are saying that they have transformed. A lot of people aren't getting the message. Some people still depend on the media, the mainstream media, for their news, so they're not seeing what we're saying. Make sure I share this message. A lot of your family and friends might not be on Facebook, but again, it's on YouTube. That's what I'm watching in the back here on the TV. That's probably what Mom was watching, because she had it on TV. It's on YouTube. So a lot of people are on YouTube right now. All right, on the different channels. A lot of people are on YouTube. So you don't have to watch it on Facebook. You can watch it on YouTube. We have a lot of other platforms that you can watch it on. So make sure, let's get the message out. Talk to your friends and family. So again, 9 o'clock in the morning, all the platforms are going to be there. So all the committees, as we have the meeting, you're going to get a notification once you sign up, and you're going to be a part of the vision for the New Bahamas. You're going to get to experience it first before everyone, and you're going to be able to contribute. All of the great ideas is going to come from you. Not all, but you know what I mean. Great ideas come from the people. All right. So while God might have blessed me with good vision, and I'm a good visionary, I've had the chance to travel around the world and see how the rest of the world works. And there's things I want to see in our country. There's things I want to just see working in our country. And we're going to make this happen. We just need a new vision for this country. We need a vision to where sun, sand, and sea is a joke to the cloud. The clouds is the future. And the cloud is made up of servers and computers and chips. And guess what? Those chips are made from sand, something we have a lot of. So not only do we collect sand that will go on beaches to make sure that Florida and Jamaica and the rest of them can maintain their beaches, which they will spend millions of dollars every year to do. One beach in Florida spends, I think, $17 million to keep their beach, because the sand just keeps going out and coming back in. There's so much to talk about. But not only will you build roads with the sand, concrete, glass, all this other stuff, but the real processing is turning that sand into a microchip right here in the Bahamas, right here in Grand Bahama, and hosting the biggest cloud network in the world. Having an island dedicated with powerful internet, dedicated to the cloud, where companies and armies and the Pentagon and everyone from around the world, they need cloud storage. Everything is in the cloud now. Your phone is in the cloud. Everything is in the cloud. They're going to get it from us. So just like a few years ago, China stood up and said by 2025, they're going to catch up to America with artificial intelligence. That's what they said. The president stood up. He stood up and said, we are going to catch up in America by 2025, and we're going to lead the world in artificial intelligence by 2030. And they've caught up early. I'm telling you that if we have a vision for our nation, we are going to have cloud that is powered by solar and by hydro from our oceans. And we keep the clouds cool by having them underwater. We need vision. Sun, sand, and sea and cloud. Sand is the microchips, it's the future. The sun is the power that we're going to sell to our neighbors. Oh my God. Vision. I can sit down and talk about vision for hours. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have some sessions where all of you are going to be able to join me for these vision sessions. And you're going to be able to contribute. Oh, 2 phones ringing. I'll answer this one first. Good evening, you're live.
Good evening, Lincoln. Good evening.
Good evening. Just hold the line one second. Go ahead.
Lincoln, I just have a quick question. What do you think is the number of Bahamians living outside the Bahamas?
I can't say I can't say what that number is. We don't do any proper statistics in our country, so I have no idea what that number is.
I can tell you the number is pretty large.
Yes.
If you take just the South Florida area,
yes,
there are tens of thousands of Bahamians living in this area.
And now in Canada.
And we all want to come home, but we want to come home to the new Bahamas.
You are going to come home to the new Bahamas. Help us get there. Support us. Come back and vote. And we want a country that you can come home to and that your children can come home to. I'm tired of our families being split up. Our children are leaving. The brains are leaving. Let me just say this quickly, caller. And this distresses me every day. They tell us to educate our children, educate ourselves, and our children are educated. And then they go away and then they come back and they tell them you're overqualified. So they push our children out of the country and they're being replaced by the children and the low-cost labor of another country. And so the brains is going away of our country and then they're replacing us with low-cost labor. And eventually the older people are going to die out. Our children are going to be in another country. And we are going to be replaced. As we get older, our children would normally take care of us. But guess what happens now? Our children are in another country. They can't take care of us. They're gone. And so we are being replaced every day because our children are being told they're overqualified.
Lincoln, I asked that question to lead you to the point that we don't really have a numbers problem. If we get more Bahamians home, we can solve our numbers problem right away.
Yes.
Now, I want to put another point on the table. If you notice over the last 4 or 5 election cycles, both PLP and FNM was stomped out of office. They, with all of their loyal supporters, every time they're only able to hold on to less than 20% of the seats.
Mm-hmm.
That suggests to me, Lincoln, that the majority of the Bahamian voter public are not aligned with these parties. They are, in fact, independents. When they vote, they're not voting for to support a party. They're voting against the government.
This is true.
So we need to identify who these independents are because they are the majority, and ask them for their support. That's what I called to say tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the call. I love talking to intelligent people. And we have some talented Bahamians all over the world who are going to come back and build the new Bahamas. We are going to build things that's going to make all of us proud. All right. And we're going to have some events where we're going to release each of our platforms and vision that we've discussed. And allow the Bahamian public to see the vision in visuals, etc. Good evening, you're live.
Yes, good evening, Mr. President.
How you doing?
I'm doing fairly well. Good night, Bahamas. Good night, COI. Good night, independent voters. You know what? It is so sad when you hear young Bahamians who are saying, listen, they don't want to vote because it makes no sense. And the thing is, you have foreign nationals coming into your country. They're getting all the documents to vote. I would say to all Bahamians, if you don't vote, the migrants are going to take your place.
Yeah.
It is shameful in our country what we're seeing today. And the thing is, the Bahamian people are woke, They are awoke. They are awake. But here's some questions I want to ask the Bahamian people. We live in an archipelago of islands, and we don't even have one helicopter. The Bahamas government don't have one helicopter, nor defense force, nor police force. You mean to tell me in the Bahamas we don't have the official prime minister's check? That should take his entourage, the pilots, and attendants on the plane. You mean to tell me we don't have the Prime Minister's mansion, the official house? That means they stay in their houses to get all the benefits from our treasury, to upgrade their homes, the best security, the best bathroom fixtures, the best beds, and everything in their homes. And when they leave office, they get to keep it with taxpayers' money? Yep. You mean to tell me we don't even have no government complexes where we now be traveling from east, west, north, and south just to get a document or get something signed? That's got to drive all around the island? You mean to tell me, Mr. President, that no schools, no government schools feeding our children? I happen that all the time. The parents are paying big monies to feed their children breakfast and lunch, on school uniforms, and they get them to school back and forth, and the government only looking on ways to tax the Bahamian people. You mean to tell me that VAT tax, that senior citizens cannot be exempt from paying VAT tax for their food and adult diapers and you mean to tell me it's a shame that women in our country, we have women in parliament, the Speaker of the House, Pierre Glover, Jobek Kobe Davis, the career politicians of Glennis Hannah Martin and Loretta Buffington, they're sitting up in Parliament and they're not defending the women, that the women are paying VAT tax for feminine products in the Bahamas and they don't pay it in England.
Wow.
It's a shame. It's so much everything, and that the government is renting buildings from persons like, say, the immigration office, the immigration department. Who that building belong to? The Treasury office. Who that belongs to? They're cronies. That we don't have our own buildings on our own crown land that our government cannot build nothing. That everything has to be drained from the Bahamian people. And I like what you said, and I'm reminded, you know, when we come back from school, come back from college and universities, and they say, oh, you're overly qualified. Mr. President, Lincoln Michael Bain, we are standing with you. No longer PLPs, no longer FNMs. We're standing to save our country, and I'm asking all Bahamians to stand with you as you fight for us. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you, man. God bless you too. You know, it's so ridiculous. We have, when it comes to our politicians, you know, we've lowered our standard. They are now bragging about getting $290 million from the Chinese, and they're pushing it as a hospital when it's really a maternity clinic. They're going to spend $290 million on a maternity clinic. All right? On a maternity clinic. So they say it's those women and children. It's not mostly Bahamians having children, so I don't know who it's the benefit. I know it ain't us. I had an aunt died last week. I had a niece died last year in the hospital, but she couldn't get the appropriate care. I had an aunt died. She sent a message to a family member. She sent a message to a family member to send to me to say she wanted me to come. They didn't get the message to me in time because she felt she's going to die in the hospital, and she did. I want to play her last. This is her last message she sent out. It was an appeal for me to come. I didn't even know she was sick or what was going on. But she was on dialysis and was having problems in that dialysis center. There's a fellow who calls out GNN. I want you to give me a call because it's time for us to deal with that situation. You know what I mean? This was my aunt's last message. She sent out a cry for me to come see her at the hospital.
Sophie, tell Lincoln I won't see him. Yeah. I mean, I tell him nothing but, yeah, but you know, I need to see him. It's getting worse. Yeah, when I've been at dialysis. Yeah. Yeah. Same one will almost kill me. Yeah. Oh, Lord. I can't take no more. Please tell Lincoln come to me. To the hospital. There's a what? The old TLS. Yeah.
I think she meant female surgical. The hospital is getting worse. People are now afraid to go to the hospital in this country. I got Andy gone. Same hospital. Same hospital. My daddy couldn't find a hospital bed in. My mommy couldn't find a hospital bed in. Good evening, your life.
Mr. Ben.
How you doing?
Good night. I wasn't gonna call you, you know. I wasn't gonna call you, brother. But when you talk about dialysis, I had to call you.
Wow.
No, I had to call you because me and you going through the same thing, brother. My uncle just died 3 weeks, but 4 weeks ago, and in the hospital, dialysis patient. And the way they treat my uncle is inhumane, my brother. Robert Johnson. I hope the whole Bahamas hear this name. My family knows exactly what's going on. My aunt has everything on the way they treated my uncle. Same thing, dialysis. So you ain't selling no dream, and you ain't talking no nonsense. You're talking the truth. Yeah. They kill him. That dialysis, that hospital, is a mess. You hear me, Mr. Ben? A mess. You understand? They could build the most proper hospital in the world, my brother. But if they don't have the people up there who love and who's concerned about the Bahamians, we can die in there.
Yeah.
Why you think the politicians leave this country and go abroad? So yeah, they're destroying us, and guess what? Bahamians can see it when it hit their doorstep, my brother. Have a pleasant good night.
Good night to you, my brother. And have my deepest sympathy. Bahamians are dying when we don't have to. They're dying on the streets. Our young men are picking up guns because they're being replaced with their jobs. And Bahamas, let's fight. Let's fight. Let's don't give up. Let's fight. I've been attacked, beaten, dragged. I've been lied on. I get lied on a daily basis. There are people paid to lie on me. I've been a victim of the police force in this country. I've been a victim of the court system in this country. They're going to vilify me because I stand in the gap for you. But don't let them celebrate building no maternity hospital. That's a fail. That's a massive fail. $290 million for glorified clinic. That's a fail. Brave Davis, if that's what you're all billing, you done fail. Call election. You see, the PLP and FNM are working together. And what they do is they don't give you what you need. They make you suffer. So that whenever they give you a little crumb, you just appreciate that so much. See, at least this one do something for me. See, and they just changing the face of who's in charge so you don't see the real problem. And so they take 80 years to give you a hospital, and then when they finally give it to you, you see that one as a hero. Oh, he gave us a hospital. He gave us a hospital. At least you do something. You lowered our standard. So the new Bahamas is coming. So like I said, 9 a.m. in the morning, you can start, you go on our website and you're going to see Think Tank. You're going to see something called Think Tank right there on the front page, or look in the menu, you'll see it. Think Tank. And go right there and sign up. Let us know which ones you'll want to be involved in. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3. And we're going to have some virtual meetings because we want as many Bahamians to fit in there as possible. We're going to have some virtual meetings, and we're gonna talk about the new Bahamas. We're going to discuss the new Bahamas. We want professionals from all over the world. When we put our education together, we spoke to persons from Bahamians from all over the world, professionals, principals from around the world, principals from here, and so we want persons from around the world to be a part of this. So once you register, you're going to get a notification when it's time for you to be, the meeting is going to happen. And we want you to be a part of the vision for the new Bahamas. We're going to give you a summary of what we've put together, and then we're going to allow you to contribute to it so that it comes from you. When we talk about healthcare, we want nurses in there, we want doctors in there, we want everyone, we want patients in there. So don't think you got to be a professional. You might have gone in the hospital and you might have experienced something, and you might have a good idea that you noticed something while you were there, that one little change could make a huge difference. So don't think because you're not educated or you're not part of the status quo that you can't give a good idea. A good idea could come from anyone. All right. And so we want you to be a part of this. All right. So let's get this going. So some people want us to hit the streets and they want us to protest. And no. We want to, 1, start planning the New Bahamas. 2, organize and structure our party. Please join us. I'm on our website right now. You can join different committees to help us out if you're a member. Please join us. Help us walk. If you want to be a volunteer, just send a text to 804-4264. If you want to help us walk the streets, we're going door to door, and we're going to need your help getting that done. And we're going to have a New Bahamas. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for your text. I know I didn't get to read all of the text. I'm so sorry. But we're going to have the change that we need. I'm looking forward to having these conversations about the vision for the New Bahamas and releasing the vision for a New Bahamas. I'm tired of settling. I'm not settling anymore for old Bahamas. We need new vision. I got one more call. Let me just take this call and then I'll end. Good evening, you're live.
Yeah. Good night, Mr. B. What's going on?
I'm good. You're my last caller.
Yeah, the last caller moves me, But the thing is, I've had a close friend died waiting on dialysis, right? But I before you close out the show, I don't know how much time you get, but I just wanted to mention this, right? The thing is, this is affecting everybody, all the taxpayers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now, what is hurtful is the fact that the availability, affordability, and then what is also confusing, the time you wait on elective surgery. You understand me saying, Mr. Beard?
Mm-hmm.
So then, I had a simple hernia, okay? And so, I didn't have 10 grand available right there and then. You know what I'm saying? So everybody have to do a fundraiser, whatever it be, right? So you have to contemplate where to go, and the queue will go somewhere. So whilst you're waiting, I got this exercising, So I'm fit. So what I'm saying is, imagine people who waiting on other surgeries more catastrophic, right? Then you turn around, and the time that person is waiting, the condition is getting worse. You understand the chronology?
Yes.
And then, so when you do the surgery, you have other complications that the doctors didn't warn you about, because maybe you are just concentrating on the dietary part of your staying healthy, right? But then when you educate yourself and you have a dialogue with a physician, and then after the post-surgery, you have to go through things like ultrasound and other things, expense, because the healthcare wasn't available and the condition was allowed to get worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a real problem. And so it's counterproductive. In turn, it's more expensive on the government. It's more expensive on the patient. So I'm a patient who's able to afford this, not willing to get things free from the hospital. But what I'm saying is, they gave me a sheet, but they tell me they'll call me because they couldn't give me a date. So it was like more, it's a while that I waited. It was really long. It's inglorious for me to even say, right? But, I have children at a ripe age. So what I'm saying is, like I said, I didn't have the 10 grand cash right there and then to do on that specifically, because you had to pay to go private. You had to pay for the surgery, pay for the anesthesia, pay for all of the other little supplementary. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow, yes.
So if you don't have, what I'm saying is, to all the fools and the political fanatics and the imbeciles, right? I have to say these words, Lincoln.
Yeah.
What it means is, if you don't have 10 grand cash, go dead. So affordability is, a lack of affordability is a way for telling all the fools on the plantation that these jokers don't care about you. So I look, sometimes they get on the radio, when I say all man go lay down and really give up the ghost, whether he give it up or not, right? And so I'm not sorry for anybody, I like to send a condolence out to Loftus Roker still and his family. Great man, kind of very eccentric. It's different. I don't know if he could, those are dying breed. You understand me? But
yeah,
in the long run, I thought 88 years was a good run. We would have liked to see him reach 100, just for the haters and the critics, right?
Yeah.
But I thought 88 was a good run. People like us, I don't know who can see these ages, but the dog food we're eating, the influence of capitalism and just the mindset of the population. is really sickening. So the hospital is going to be getting filled up. I'm seeing children eating sausage and rice for breakfast with soda and chip and all these different things, going to school, and they're allowed to sell anything around the schools, but nothing is being done. But see, I'm sickened, really and truly. Every talk show should have a health a program on every week just for 2 hours, because I mean, we all going to be going to the hospital, and the young people are going to be going faster. I've seen people 20 years old with ulcerative colitis, etc. And a lady being on the other day is a 17-year-old with boys' blood vessels from diabetes.
Wow.
You know, the mother probably is eating foolishness from you was in the stomach. What I'm saying is our ignorance, our lack of vision, our lack of knowledge, and our contempt and disrespect for one another will be our downfall. That's all I can say, Mr. Bain. Bless up, keep it up.
Wow.
Give thanks. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the last call I could take. I just wanted to say condolences and deepest sympathy to one of my best supporters, Miss Kayla Ferguson. Miss Kayla Ferguson has been there for me. I remember when I was campaigning. She's a reformed PLP. Now she's saved. She's just PLP all her life. And the last election, she supported us. She was tired. And I remember at one point during the COVID thing, everyone just about in our party fell ill and got COVID. And 2 people were left to be there with me. I had to carry the party basically on my shoulders because no one even knew that everyone else was sick. I had to go to the headquarters every day. Everyone got COVID. Some of the people they were close to death. We thought we were going to lose them. And there was a man called Ben Fox who was there with me at headquarters every day. He would come out and risk himself just to keep my company and be there because everyone else was sick. I didn't catch COVID. You know, I hugged people, kissed people, and God just protected me. And Ben Fox, he passed. He got COVID and he died. And that tore me apart. That really hurt me, you know. He came out to keep my company. He got COVID and he died. I can't say where he got it, but and then there was another person called Kayla Ferguson, and she would come to make sure I had something to eat, you know, make sure, you know, I had one Snickers or one O. Henry or one Vitamalt, or she would overdose me with Vitamalt. To make sure I had the energy to do what I needed to do and to keep up. And I just want to thank Miss Kayla Ferguson. But Miss Kayla Ferguson lost her son. And I want to give her my deepest sympathies on the loss of her son, Mr. Charles Ferguson Jr. He was the man killed by police recently. And there were some different stories going out with that. First, they were in a car and the driver shot at someone and they shot, the police shot, the driver shot at the police and the police shot back and killed Charles. Then the next story was Charles was walking around in Gambia. I don't know how you get from buying with the Gambia walking around, but there's so much different stories. I don't believe these stories. But in any event, he was killed by the police recently. And I just want to give her my deepest sympathy on her devastating loss. And we will definitely keep our family in our prayers because we know it's a devastating thing. I also want to give my deepest sympathies to the family of another COI warrior, Darissa Cox. Darissa Cox got all her family involved. She's from the Anglican community and she died. She supported us last time and supporting us again. She's a strong supporter, held us up, and she has passed away. Also kidney. She had a similar experience. She didn't last 2 weeks on dialysis. It just didn't work out for her. Why are Bahamians dying, man? It's like they trying to kill us out, trying to breed us out, trying to export us out, trying to get rid of us. It's like they don't want us in our own country. Why are Bahamians dying every single day? And so we're going to say our condolences to Ms. Darissa. Again, it's another kidney situation. There's a kidney epidemic going on in this country right now. There's a major kidney epidemic going on in this country, but they're not focusing on the stuff in the news, so we don't know what's happening. Cancer, kidney, a lot of stuff. Young women are getting breast cancer like never before. There's a serious health crisis, and it's like they want us to die out, but we're not going to let it happen. We're not giving up. All right, we're going to stand firm and stand strong. And lastly, I just want you to know that the Coalition of Independence is having a walkathon, the second annual walkathon. They had one last year, it was phenomenal. Walkathon in South, and you know COI has the best food. And so the South over there is always phenomenal, and it's going to be on Saturday, the 25th of May. Saturday, the 25th of May. It's going to be registrations at 6:30 a.m. All right, it's at Niles Grace Center. They're going to walk to Central Police Station and back. And so it's 6:30 a.m. is registration. The South is $6.99. Man, what kind of free sauces is y'all giving out? You should at least be doing $10. But anyway, you know, we like to give back in COI. $6.99 for South. All right. And so the entry for the walkathon is $5. And for kids 11 years old or younger, it's $3. All right. And so that's it. Someone says we have to grow our food, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so some of the industries we're going on is going to encourage us being able to go grow our food. We have 5 million tourists. We're looking at 20 million tourists. We're coming 20 million tourists by our first term because of some of the things we're going to put in place. Dubai did it. We can do it. And they're just a desert. But when we unleash our cruise ships onto the world, we're going to be able to export our culture and export our food. So now this is millions of people that we are going to be selling our food grown in the Bahamas. So they're going to get food grown in the Bahamas. All right. So our farmers now have a market bigger than just the 400,000. They have millions of people that they now can feed on our cruise ships and our hotels, et cetera, et cetera. This is where vision comes in, ladies and gentlemen. I know I put it out there in snippets, but we just need a new kind of thinking. All right. And so now we have a reason to grow organic food. Fiji did water that sounds artisan. How good does it sound to have organic food from the Bahamas, from paradise? It sounds good. Just like Fiji water sounds good. California raisins made sense. Remember? Because California has sun. So we have paradise. You have food grown organically in the Bahamas. Now it's food that can sell for a premium, just like Fiji water sold for a premium. We are going to run this country like a business. All right? With vision. And so cruise ships now have to get a certain amount of their food as organic food, healthy food, etc. I've read this on one of my lives. We get back to this when we're releasing the vision. They have to release a certain amount by 2030. They have to get a certain amount. So now we can supply them with that food that they need. We can supply them with the renewable things that they need. And we can make money from Carnival, from Royal Caribbean, who's coming here, and from our cruise ships that is going around the world, giving the world an experience of the Bahamas. And so it's just vision time, man. It's vision. I'm tired of these same old, we could build some road, we could build some bridge, we could build some dock. We could build a hospital. So now I'm at a hospital. But we ain't getting none yet. We don't just want a hospital. We want a hospital so good that the rest of the world coming here to enjoy our hospital. They didn't build Jackson Memorial for you. They built that for them in Florida. And you go there to enjoy what they have. We're going to change the mindset of building something for tourists. We are going to build an experience for us. And the tourists are going to come to enjoy it. That's why tourism and culture is going to be in one. Say that the trolls stealing all ideas. Let them steal it. The children now getting breakfast because they heard the COI talking about that. But they only do it in a couple of schools and making it seem like they did something big. Because we said we're going to give breakfast and lunch to our children every day. The children in the States get it. Why we can't do it? We're going to feed our children. They ain't going to be hungry. They can eat that if they want to, or get their own food if they want to. But the food, healthy food, will be there for our children in the schools. All right? There's a lot of things that they've proposed recently, but what they do is they steal it and they don't do it the way that we can really benefit. There's no law or nothing they've done to benefit Bahamians in many, many years. everything benefits foreigners and foreign interests, and nothing is towards us. Even dogs and turtles got laws. Sharks, nothing to benefit us. All we get is taxes, and more taxes. All right? And so there's a lot of vision that's coming. We're going to hear a lot of vision. It's time to get to work. So tomorrow, 9 o'clock, let's get to work. You come to the website, look for the tab that says Think Tank, and sign up and be a part of what we're doing, okay? So we're looking forward to seeing all of you there. We're looking forward to see you, and the Think Tank is going to culminate in something called the Black Book. And that is going to be the book that has all of the vision for the new Bahamas. The vision is going to take us from third world nation to a first world nation, a developing nation to a developed nation. It's going to take us to the new Bahamas, built by Bahamians for Bahamians with foreign labor. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And leave you with a couple little videos to remind you of where we could be and where we will be.
This may be the best citizenship in the world, and they all have it. Because of this card, they get free land, free education, free weddings, free hospitals, and even a free funeral. It's the citizenship of a country in the Middle East called the United Arab Emirates. This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. And because the city is so generous, they get the craziest benefits I have ever seen. Are you ready for this? When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free! And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this: free land. Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0-interest loan on housing.
Zero?
Zero.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of, and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home, so your friends can come and say goodbye to you. The point of government is to take care of people, and in Dubai, they take it to the extreme. Imagine if every city, every state, every government in the world did this. We would have a much happier world.